What's good, alumni? Let's get this thing going. Go ahead and share this out if you guys would on Twitter. Let's get this out there. Let's grow this class of 2023 before we head into 2024. We'll be starting in just a minute. Guys are coming in. Don't forget to hit that like button, guys. If you're new here, stick around. If you like the content that we give you out today, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, get notified every time we go live. We're about to start in 30 seconds. Let's get it. It's Friday. Oh, what is up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome to Piper Academy. I'm your host, Army Piper, and we come at you every Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, bringing you guys the news, the charts, the markets, and everything you need to know to have knowledge. Why? Because knowledge is profit. If you guys are new here, like I said, go ahead, hit that subscribe button. If you guys are not new here and you just came to get more knowledge, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to share this out with your friends, with your family, because sharing is caring. Guys, I don't do this show alone. I've got two great co-hosts on this show. They are part of the professors here in the alumni, and we're going to be bringing them on in a second. But I do want to point out something to you guys. Yesterday, we talked about the charts, and we was looking at Solana. If you guys remember this, yesterday we talked about Solana, and I said, look, I think what's going to happen here is we are pumping up here, and I would be watching for us to head into the golden pocket here, head into this golden pocket, and I think that when we do, we're going to see ourselves pop up and hit possibly the top of this, which would be $97.29. I said, if we're going to do that, we might as well just say it's going to be 100 because that's a psychological number. We drew a T-box on here. Shout out to TA Tim for that. And we actually hit yesterday, guys, a high of $99.99. Now getting rejected back down, and we have just tested the bottom of the golden pocket, the 0.618 at $91.39 in the past 4 hours. We wicked down below it, retested it, and we are inside of the golden pocket. So if you guys got in on that trade yesterday, shout out to you. You guys are the winners. We're just here dropping knowledge for you every day. That is what I wanted to show there. Let's go ahead and bring up my co-host, though, because I love my co-host. I can't do the show without him. Let's get over there. Let's go. What's up, fellas?
What's going on? Happy Friday. Let's get this party started.
It is Friday. That is right, guys. So we had some news come out this morning. I'm going to be jumping into that. We had PCE data. I'm going to show you guys what happened with that data there, and also give a little nudge to it on that spreading of that knowledge from the Kabisi letter on X marks the spot. So we're going to be pulling that up. But charts, yeah, guys, OP tearing off 50% in 5 days, literally. It was since Monday. And there was some key levels that I want to show you that happened on there. But also Arbitrum popping off today. Crazy Arbitrum moves today. What else do you guys see moving in the charts? What do you guys see in OC TradeFly? Let me know. And you guys down there in the chat, let us know. While you're doing that, I want to give a shout out real fast. Crypto Poyo, Cluck Cluck fam in the house. Love it when Poyo's in the house. Eric Wallen's in here. Arsan, we've got TradeFly, of course. Always happy to be in the chat and helping out over there too. You're just all over the place, TradeFly. I'm on the show. I'm in the chat. I'm watching. I love it, man. I love it. Crypto Billy Ola, brother. What's up? Givers Gain. I got to say, shout out to ZTS Rhythm. It's my son saying good morning, alumni. I had to wake him up this morning. He did not wake up with the charts today, so he's a little behind. It happened. Justin Eubanks, Mr. J, glad to have you guys here. Ninja Clock. All right, so guys, TradeFly, OC, whoever wants to take it first. What are you guys seeing in the chart? Don't bring up the chart, but just like what asset are you watching? What are you going to be doing TA on so that people know what to expect coming up?
Yeah, so a couple that I'm gonna look at today. One of them is gonna be Atom. A lot of people are starting to talk about that. It's kind of in the headlines a little bit, so I figure there'd be some interest there. Other one's gonna be Cardano. That one's in the news. If you guys are hearing about that, they just got yeah, they're gonna bring some utility to the market. So I think we're gonna cover that a little bit in the news, and then probably talk a little bit about Coinbase. Also, they're also in the news. So that's what I got. OC, over
Nice.
to you.
Well, I'm looking at BNB. It seems like it's gonna be a very interesting coin to start looking at. And then, guys, I want to ask you, what would you like me to go over? Either Illuvium or could also be going after Rose because Rose has been moving so good so far. So, I mean, I'm just trying to take a look at a couple of those, but I want to have your opinion, guys, in the public to see what would you like us to, or what would like me to take on board. Could be Rose or could be I love you.
I like it. I like it. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and jump into the news and let's talk about that first, guys. Here, jumping into the news today. What do we have? Well, we have a little bit of info here from the economic calendar, guys. This morning, PCE data is coming out and durable goods, and I'm seeing some key things in here. This is why I'm still super bullish on what is going on in the markets. Core PCE came in was previously at 0.2%. We had a consensus and a forecast of 0.2% on both of those, and then it actually came in at 0.1%. Well, what is PCE, you ask, OC? I'm glad you asked. PCE, this is the core cost of things minus energy. And if you guys don't know this, you can actually click on this and go in there. This is minus energy and food. This is the core price of goods, excluding food and energy. Okay. So the reason that this is relevant is because this means that it's effectively costing less. I think this would be even lower, to be honest, if we included energy, because energy prices are coming down right now, which is odd because we're in the winter time, and it's kind of strange to have energy going down in price in the winter when it usually goes up. So some things there. Durable goods is the other one here, guys. It was down negative 5.1% previous month. Consensus was that it would be up 2.2. Forecast was that it would be up 1.8%. It actually came in at 5.4. This is super relevant because if it had been this would mean that we dropped 5.2% and only came back up 2.2%. Okay. If that was the case, we would still be in a negative from the previous month's report of 5.1. We actually came up to 5.4. That effectively says that we have erased the entire negative 5.1 loss and actually gained 0.3 or 0.3%. So the fact that we got durable goods orders that shows that there's demand and the price is low, this is called disinflation. For those that do not know, and disinflation is a key factor that the Federal Reserve has been watching to make sure that we have disinflation going on at the same time that everything else is falling into its places in order to do rate cuts. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what Kabisi Letter said about this morning. They said November PCE inflation, the Fed's preferred inflation measure, falls to 2.6%, below the expectation of 2.8%. Core PCE inflation falls at 3.2, below the expectation of 3.3. This is the lowest PCE inflation numbers have been since May of 2021. Another welcome sign by the Fed. So this is really good. This is all about just about all of the inflation data for November has moved in the right direction. This has reinforced market hopes of a Fed rate cut in 2024. Still, the question is how many will we have and will they begin? Let's jump over here, see what we're seeing here. Give a little refreshy fresh on the CME group, and let's see what we got in here, guys. Yeah, all of you cookies. I know. I'm always on this thing, so they've got all my data anyways. I can't wait for decentralized services to come out, which, by the way, this data would be pulled by Chainlink on the Oracle to be put on Web3. So shut up, Chainlink. Take a look here. This is going to be the 31 January. Right now, guys, we're looking at a 14.5% chance of an ease of rate cut, I should say. 85.5% chance of no change, staying neutral, pausing still. 0% chance of a rate hike. But it starts to get interesting when we jump into March. March, we take a look at this and we see that, okay, Caleb Franson, Eric Wallen. Hey, just because one person is smart in reading stuff doesn't mean that no one else is allowed to read and learn stuff. Okay. Taking a look at March here, we are actually looking at an 88% chance of rate cuts in March now, guys. This was, I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like May, June, July. It keeps getting closer and closer. They are moving that goalpost for an easier kick. And with that disinflation comes a soft landing when this starts to happen. So, looking really bullish for the markets, and we're going to be taking a look and see how they're reacting to this news this morning, right after this, before we do all the news stuff, or right after all the news stuff. But yeah, 12% chance of a pause, 88% chance in March of a rate cut. If we look here at May, 100% chance of a rate cut in May right now. So that is how the Federal Reserve is looking at this data. This is the CME group. It's a bunch of analysts over there at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And this is the call that they're making. May, 100% chance, 88% chance in March. Let's go and see what happened here in the news today. We got this historic crypto seizure. If you guys don't know about this, you should. This happened a long time ago. Silk Road, 69,370 Bitcoin taken by the government from the Silk Road, and that has been in court for a while now. I know everyone says that they owned this Bitcoin and all this. They did not technically have finalized ownership of this crypto until yesterday. Yesterday, there was a significant chapter that closed. Actually, it's going to be 2 days ago, Wednesday. Significant chapter closed on December 20th, 2023, as the United States Court of Appeals finalized the forfeiture of the 69,370 Bitcoin. This decision, stemming from the notorious Silk Road case, marks one of the most substantial forfeitures of Bitcoin or any digital currency in history. So, United States officially owns 69,370 Bitcoin. They have made a lot of money off of this already. So, what else do we have here? I do want to show one thing on the SEC, and then we're going to talk about headlines, and then you guys can jump in on the articles you want out of there. SEC engages in joint conference call with Bitcoin ETF applicants amid approval speculations. The TLD on this, guys, in my opinion, speculations arise about potential approval by January 10th, fueled by insider reports and Fox Business coverage. It looks like this meeting yesterday may have been focused on the cash creation model, and that it does confirm that we will have some type of decision of approval on January the 10th. So we're not too far off from that right now, about 3 weeks away in that ballpark. So that's what we got there. Alex O Crypto in the house. What is up, Otter? The Otter gang. He's going to be bringing them over here. I know he is, because that's how he rolls, man. Alex O Crypto is the man. Taking a look at the headlines here real fast. Cardano Foundation. Look, I want to say something real fast here. There's some majorly bullish headlines today when it comes to crypto adoption and the institutional real world usage, or the utility purpose of Bitcoin. You always hear people say, well, what's the purpose of it? Well, obviously, some big name companies are starting to go, we know what the real world usage is, and we're getting involved with this because it's going to help. So the next time someone goes, it's fake internet magic money and it doesn't have a purpose, just start pulling up some of these articles, guys. Let's take a look here. We got the Cardano Foundation just inked a partnership with a Brazilian oil company. And I do believe that TradeFly is going to be jumping in on that real fast here in a minute. MasterCard backs the Ethereum Group vision to merge crypto with traditional finance. Shout out to MasterCard there. Another real world usage. Bitcoin approved in Argentina for contract deals, says the foreign chief. So now they officially, legally can settle contracts in Brazil using Bitcoin. And yeah, that's what I got for some real world usage today. But guys, I'm going to kick it over to my roadies here. TradeFly, you want to take it first? I think you had something on the Cardano, and then OC, if you had anything that you wanted to talk about in news, we will jump over to you.
Yeah, man. So I have the Cardano chart up if you wanted to get into the charts now. or if you wanted to
We
just talk
we'll just
news.
talk.
But
Talk it. Let's do it. Let's talk
yeah.
news.
So the big thing with Cardano, like I remember a couple years ago when I initially got interested in Cardano, a lot of people were saying like they're going to be the first in the biz to really bring that utility. And I remember back in the day, I don't know if you remember this, they were talking about Africa quite a bit. And they were really trying to get into that financial system over there and kind of be, I don't know, I'll say that first mover in the industry in Africa. That seemed to be their kind of target market and where they really thought they could make a difference. So, that's why personally I was pretty bullish because for me, I was looking at coins that I thought were going to bring utility. And so now that we're really seeing these deals happen, now with the most recent news, it's like, okay, Cardano, we got to really start keeping an eye on them because I mean, that's super bullish because everything that we've been waiting for is what? Utility. You start bringing utility to the space and then it's like it's tangible and
That's
people
when
like
smart
tangible
money wakes
people.
up and goes, "What is this?" Right?
Yeah, we can use this is real. So that's what gets me excited personally.
Nice. Oh, see, you got anything on that? What's your thoughts on this Cardano deal? Is this just small moves in the market, or do these little moves build up to massive major adoption? No matter how small they are, the sheer number of them being picked up for utility purpose, does that have a vote?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can see this repeating over and over and over throughout all the halving events. And I'm talking about the halving because that's usually when we see big money rushing into Bitcoin and then spreading to the top 10, top 20, and then top 50 coins. And that's where we reorganize. But that's what is bringing like massive waves of adoption. I mean, previous cycle, I do remember that it was like so few people just talking about altcoins, and then just at the peak of the previous halving event or the bull market, everybody was just talking about it. Now we start also seeing Tesla jumping to that trend, and I mean that's where we start seeing some dealerships accepting. Also Bitcoin and other altcoins. So I mean, the more we go forward, and the more we have this coins making that breakthrough as spearheads, like for example the Solana phone, right? We start seeing that massive adoption and also that trust of the public, like saying, oh well, look at that, this company is now accepting this, they're exchanging this, now there's a fund, let's see how it plays. So it's just like like I wasn't alive by that but then, but when we start moving from the horses to the cars, right? Maybe at the very beginning it was something that not everyone to jump, because what I mean, what is a machine against an animal that you can trust with, right? Or trust to. And I believe that is the same shock that we could be seeing right now on the streets. But without a doubt, we are moving into adoption. And
Yep.
little quick tip there, I do believe that despite I love Bitcoin and I could even consider myself a Bitcoin maximalist, I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be the asset that we use day to day to be trading or
No, not at
exchanging.
all. I
I believe
agree.
it's going to be very,
Yeah.
yeah. On that point, I would like to see what is your opinion, Piper, and also your opinion trade crypto. Sorry, trade flight.
Yeah. So on my opinion on that, I kind of agree. I do believe that Bitcoin is going to be more of a store of value. It's digital gold. We've known this for years, right?
Yes.
But let's manifest Poyo in here. Poyo, cluck cluck. What's up, Poyo? How you doing, man? I do believe that we're going to see ordinals doing a lot of stuff, though, man. I think there's going to be utility purpose for Bitcoin. The ordinals are popping off. My stacks bag is stacking up. So shout out to stacks if you got some. Yeah, I think the ordinals are definitely going to have a play on this. But I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be the leader, the front runner for institutional use and stuff like that. I do think that we have much cheaper tokens out there for that. One of them being what's had a massive adoption shift lately, Solana. So of course we got Ethereum. It's the massive 6,000 pound King Kong ape in the room when it comes to utility pickup, but adoption. But I do think that Solana is going to be putting some pressure on it, as well as that parent chain on Polkadot. You got Avalanche. There's some great stuff out there that people are going to be getting on. But it looks like right now we've got Cardano moving up on that list, and which is great because what's the thing that people say about Cardano all the time? No one's using it. It's not doing anything.
Yeah,
This is starting to show some more interest in ADA again. So shout out to ADA. Um, what's up, Aaron? Good morning. How you doing, bro? Shout out to everybody joining this. If you guys haven't done so, go ahead, hit that like and hit that subscribe button down below, and hit that notification bell and share with your friends. You got a Cardano chart pulled up there, Tradefly. Let's go through that. And then,
I do.
OC, did you have an article you wanted to talk about today, or did we talk about everything you wanted to talk about on news?
Yeah, we talked about everything. Basically, it was
Okay,
just El
cool.
Salvador Congress approving the thing. Yeah.
Cool. I just
Yeah,
wanted to make sure
we
that
are
the
getting closer
brofecta,
to the ETF, man. That's
we are,
they had a big
it's
meeting
coming.
yesterday. That made some news yesterday. They had that meeting basically where they were like, "Hey, are we going to use in kind or are we going to source by cash?" And that's been a really big topic of discussion. And I think the people that applied or all the different institutions that actually applied of like that, I guess they've submitted to the SEC and said, all right, we're going to use cash as the sourcing. And the big argument there from the SEC was saying that, well, we don't know where the Bitcoin would be coming from. And, yeah, you don't know where the cash is coming from either, bro. Like, but it
Yeah.
is what it is. So
Yep,
that's,
absolutely. I do have, I do want to address a question that's in here, that um, Crypto Billy asked. He asked this question. So let me bring this up here so that we can bring it on the screen. There we go. I'm gonna move this right up here. We're gonna set it up like this. Check this out. This is how we're gonna roll right here. Um, no, that ain't working. There, where? There somewhere. Okay,
oh, I can
anyway,
see it.
it's up
Um,
there. It's up there. It
yeah.
says I'll have to finagle that one later. But he said on Solana, when do we have to worry about FTX selling all that Solana? I actually have a theory about this, and I don't know that they're going to do it because there's been a lot of talk in the past months that FTX wants to relaunch.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Technically, if they don't collapse and close out, they don't have to pay people back if they relaunch. They can just
And Dick,
relaunch and people can get their money off the account. If that is the case and that happens, all the money that they're making right now supports their foundational base to rebuild on. So we may not see a big Solana sell off until after this bull run. That might be when we start
yeah.
to see that happen. So um, theoretically, with FTX talking about wanting to relaunch and as much money as they had, it is very possible that they could get a whole new CEO team, a whole new management team, whole new structure, and just hey, come back in, re-verify yourself, and here we go. So
Yeah.
that is a possibility.
And
Of course,
we
uh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say we were talking about that while you were gone at one point because I think the token actually was pumping. So we are looking at it, we're kind of like
FTT.
giggling, like, why is this happening? And that's because there's real negotiations happening right now to actually bring it back. This is legit. So, and I think
Yep,
that's another reason that people are feeling comfortable with Solana again because they're like, all right, well, it may not get dumped on our face.
it may not, but of course, guys, this is crypto, and
Yeah,
sometimes you can take the full load of suck right in the face. I'm just saying, like
uh,
Celsius, Voyager, it happens, right? So
yeah,
shout out to my boy Crux of Crypto here in the chat. He's still dealing with 40 Ethereum floating around out there in the blockchain somewhere that he can't get access to thanks to the Celsius and Voyager thing. So let's go ahead and jump into the charts, Fly. Trade Fly, I'm going to bring up your screen here so that you can show what you're seeing on Cardano. And then I'm going to go ahead and knock out the morning market open and Bitcoin, look at Bitcoin dominance, and talk about a CME gap, guys. Are we heading back down to $39,000 on Bitcoin? We're going to take a look at why that could be a thing.
go. All right, so looking at Cardano, man, I was hoping for a little bit more. I'm kind of disappointed, to be honest with you. I got on the 4-hour chart right now. Looking at that, you can see that I have the Fibonacci retracement levels up, and we did actually come down to the 0.236 here, and we're finding a little bit of support there. If you're looking at the 0.236, though, it does look like kind of a significant level. You will see there's multiple areas of both resistance and support, and you can just see multiple touch points there. So I'd say it's a pretty key area for us to keep an eye on. It is also a high volume area if you're looking at the 4-hour chart. But let's go ahead and look at some of the indicators. Now, coming down to the indicators, you're looking at the prime oscillator. You can see that we did get pretty high up there. It didn't really get into the overbought range on the 4-hour chart, at least, but you are starting to see a trend back negative. And looking at Cardano itself in comparison to some of the other coins right now, it's one of the few that actually pulled back. So that is kind of surprising given some of the news. But as usual, Cardano always seems to be kind of late to the game. So there could be a delay before you actually see a movement there. But let's go ahead and look at the daily, get a little bit more of a, let's say, a top down look at it. So the reason I want to pull up the daily is because we have big gap here. All right. And I really want you guys to pay attention to that. So, current area we're at, we did kind of top out at about 68 cents or so. But what I would tell you guys to keep an eye on is if we break that area. So, I want to point that out to you. If we break that 68 area, it's pretty much going to be a sprint up to about 74, 75 cents, I think. I don't think there's anything that's really going to hold it back from making that move. So breaks to 68. I personally would look for some kind of retest in that area for it to come back down, retest, and then start making its movement up. And I think, that's a very realistic area. So again, just to kind of rehash that, somewhere around 74, 75 cents would make a lot of sense for me. And then that's when we start talking about, where was Cardano sitting at for, the majority of its life. And that's about the dollar range. And that's where it's really going to get real for Cardano. Once we get up to that dollar range, I'm going to be perfectly transparent with you. I would probably look for an initial rejection. There's probably people there already sitting at a dollar saying, this is where I'm going to exit. This is kind of that psychological number that Piper had already talked about with Solana. I could see very much the same thing with Cardano. But after that, if we get past that $1 mark, it's going to be game on and Cardano is going to fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And Cardano, something I want to point out to people while we're talking about this. You got a lot of coins out there, a lot of tokens out there that don't move like everything else. Like for example, you've got Chainlink. Chainlink doesn't move like everything else. It will literally sit there and do nothing forever, right? You've got things like Cardano that just will sit there and not do anything. When you have those tokens that are doing that, and I even have to say, you probably are going to see this with XRP. It's not doing anything. What happens when all your stuff is making you money and then out of nowhere you decide that this stuff's not making any money, all this stuff's making money, and you sell it off? It happens all the time. And typically, right after that window is when things just rip off and you go, oh my God, it's up 21%. I just sold it. Guys,
Yeah.
not everything has to move together. There's a cycle that goes on. It's like, Bitcoin moves, altcoin moves, but it's not all altcoins. And then you got your meme coins and your low caps. Things just move in different ways. And then those ones that didn't move out of nowhere, like Near Protocol. Near Protocol had not done anything. And then all of a sudden, last week to this week, just pumped absolutely, like doubled almost. That's how things happen. That's why it's good to be diversified. Spread yourself out a little bit into good projects and wait for it to move. If you're going to sell it off, make it a take profit later on when you had a big run up of that 21% and close out half of it, take half of that money and wait. Me personally, I wouldn't do that because I don't like short-term capital gains. I like to hold it for greater than 12 months and get short-term capital gains. But it is trade fly. Absolutely. Altcoin whack-a-mole. That's what it is, man.
That's what I call it. That's exactly my thing for it. I'm like, it's altcoin whack-a-mole. Every day it seems like a different project just pops and you're like, damn it. I wish I would have jumped on that one.
Absolutely. True. So true. But what I like to do is I like to wait for a big run up on something that I've held for greater than 12 months, and then take some profit out of it, and then put some of that back into other things that are sitting stagnant and haven't taken their turn yet. And that's just how you
Dude,
keep
that's a
flipping money in.
great strategy.
But at the end of the day, it's all based on a 12-month hold hodl period, because I don't want that short-term capital gains. I would rather
Yeah.
pay, that 20-ish% versus that 40-ish%. Thank you, President Biden, for that. But yeah, so let's go
Yeah,
ahead and jump
I eat
into.
those in the face, man. I take the short. Complete opposite, man. I'm in, I'm out, and I take my profit, and I will just suck up the payment. Like
Right,
I
and
get too scared.
then we have OC over here sitting in Cozumel. That's like, I trade all day long because I don't live in the U.S. and have to deal with your guys' tax system. So yeah,
Yeah.
we definitely have a diversified group here,
Yeah.
in this trifecta here, the brofecta, as Eric Wallen called it yesterday. Guys, let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin here consolidating again, sitting against this. I've had this red resistance zone up when we were back here rejecting from it, and it's because we have the upper trade band of the predictive range is sitting there right in line with the 887, the top of the platinum pocket. We keep getting rejection every time we hit on that, but we're not getting these drops that we've seen before. You see, there's a bigger drop here. We had a really big drop here down to the dynamic reactor. It came back down, tested it here, hit that bottom trade band of the predictive ranges again from Chart Prime's Dynamic Pro, and now we're back up to the top of this again, getting this rejection. The fact that we're not getting any big, massive dump here, and we're holding this little, you can see, if I come over here, you can see right in that range there is a decent little support range coming that was previous resistance. And we're kind of holding above that right now in the little consolidation flag. This is bullish in my opinion. I think we are going to make that run back at 45 sometime between now and next week this time. So we could be moving definitely into the realm of a Christmas pump. So taking a look here to see what we got. Someone just chatted. Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure I had some messages over here and make sure that wasn't one of the team members. But that's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin, guys. Little consolidation there. Let's take a look and see what else is going on with Bitcoin today and why we could see a pullback. First off, we've got the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance is coming down. We do have a trend line down here that I've been watching in this little pattern, which is where we broke out up here. We do have this trend line down here. This trend line coming in right now at about 52.4. I am watching 52.33% what we need to hold in order to get still a bullish momentum bounce on Bitcoin dominance. So right now, cooling off. It's the altcoin's turn. If you actually take a look at total 2 minus Bitcoin, there you go. Making new highs, $766 billion is what the range is at right now on the total market cap. Total 2, that is minus Bitcoin. But the gap that I was telling you guys about, that's right here. Check it out. We've got this gap coming in right now at about 40,300. The bottom side of this, 39,620. 39,620 is where we need to see a closure on the on a wick down in order to close that gap. Making sure. Okay. I got all kinds of things over here. I'm making sure it's not one of you guys on Discord messaging me. If you take a look at these levels, let's say 39,640. Let's go back to here. Nope. Let's go back to here. 39,640. And let's go and see where that's at on here, looking at these levels. Well, 39,620. The top of that range for that CME gap, by the way, is going to be a liquidity zone right here. But that 39,620 is going to be back in this previous cluster here. So that would be what we have to hit to close out that gap. I don't know that we're going to do it. We don't always close gaps. That would be a pretty substantial drop, but I don't think it's impossible. Why? Because again, we do have a liquidity zone down here, and you've got people that had entered onto longs down here that have stop losses set there. It could easily come down wick and then take back off again. My concern would be not getting rejected on the dynamic reactor at that point, because if we're below the dynamic reactor, it is bullish. It's bearish. If we're above it, it's bullish. Let's take a look and see where the daily would be at on that dynamic reactor and see if that would give us any hope at all Yeah, that would be 39, 34, 35,000 would be that on the 12 on the daily for the dynamic reactor. So yeah, that would be what I'm watching for if we do come down and close that gap, is that we can get back above that dynamic reactor and back into the platinum pocket again. So that's what I got there. Quick look at the markets this morning, guys, for our stock peoples. Our stock peoples. Looks like everything is green. Clean Spark up 2.6%. Right now, getting another opening run there. Matter of fact, let's do that. Getting a little open run. Started out coming down to the downside, pumped back up. And then let's take a look at this right here. There we go. Looks like we've got a nice pump coming out of the Dow Jones today. The NASDAQ 100 kind of static right now at its opening mark, and then the S&P 500 futures looking green today too. They are taking this news pretty solid that we got on the economic data this morning. And if you take a look at what we said yesterday on the Dixie guys, when we were looking at the Dixie, we were even right here, and I said we're right now at a double bottom, but I could see us coming down and hitting that 101.50. Why? Because we had the bottom of the trade band there, and we already were below the delta with the rejection. I said we could be heading down here. Guys, that's exactly where we headed with these last two 8-hour candles, 12 hours worth of candles there. Actually, 24 hours worth of candles, bringing us down even below my target of 101.50. So that's what I got for there. OC, it's time for you to pull up one of your assets. Let's do a round robin. Guys, in the chat, let us know what you would like to see today for TA. We are going to do our round robin of two each, 111 and then 111, and then we will get to your guys' stuff. So drop it in the chat. OC, over to you, bro. Kick it.
Absolutely. So we've been taking a look at BNB, right? So yesterday we were talking about maybe hitting or getting into this resistance zone, and if we were able to break after or within this previous box that we had here and going for that retest and refine support, we basically had a free run all the way to this section to what is it, somewhere around 303.5. So I'm talking about BNB not because I actually like the coin itself. I believe that BNB is not bringing anything to the table other than just being that broker's coin. Although I do have some investments on BNB and also on that on that broker. So I'm keeping a close eye on how is it evolving. And right now it seems that we're having that little bit of that rejection in here, nothing too crazy, because look at how previously we had that rejection. All right. So it seems that we're going right on track. So what is our squeeze momentum telling us? So our squeeze momentum, let's get started with that histogram. So we have healthy, big body histograms bars in here. So basically we are still pushing upwards. And what is the strength on that bullish movement that we should be going or looking at? So for that, let me just Control C here so we have a better view. And that's why we have our ADX. Remember that the ADX, it's telling you whether something has or it hasn't that strength. So there's one important key on the ADX, and let me move it because right now it's paired. So look at that ADX, right? I usually call it just because that's how I call all of those center lines, the zero line, but it is actually the 23 line in here, all right? So what I want to see, just like with most of the oscillators that I use, is that I want to see that strength breaking through that 23 line, or what I call the zero line, and or vertex line, so I could keep running upwards. Look at that. Like for example, once I broke through, I see that big enough movement. All right, and once I broke through again, that big enough movement. Once I'm below, well, it's kind of like a meh, right? I mean, it's kind of like a vanilla. But what I want to see in here is to for that ADX to make that move above that 23 line, and I still can have those green body histogram bars on Binance. Let's go to the 4 hour to wrap it up, and let's see something very interesting, because this is where many people start asking kind of like some questions, right? So you said, all right, daily it's bullish. We're having that upcoming strength, and we have green histogram bars. All right. So when I go to to 4 hour, well, I see a discrepancy there, right? I mean, I'm looking a little bit more bearish in here. I do see the retracement. I do see that I have darker shades of green histogram bars, and most worrying, I do see that ADX plummeting, right? Well, then remember, guys, that you can be bearish on one time frame and then bullish on the other time frame. It depends on the cycles of each time frame. So let's make, for example, let's take a look at this section right here. All right, being bearish or kind of bearish on the 4 hour doesn't mean that we are completely changing direction on daily, because we could be going from bearish to back to bullish and making that little push up in here. All right, so basically that's what I'm looking for, to have some support along the base of this channel that we are looking for. All right, and at the very least, have some support at this VPVR spike while I'm still on green. It doesn't matter what kind of green, as long as I'm still on green, and then I see a change of direction on that ATX by finding support here or support here, I'll be still considering myself bullish on BNB. So that's what I'm looking at. BNB still bullish, hasn't changed the trend, and I'm looking closely, especially for maybe making a re-entry on BNB. Not quite there yet, and this is not financial advice. Yeah, throwing back to you guys.
And that's at what price level for that re-entry? Is that 252.10?
Perfect. My best possible re-entry at this point, so far with the information that I got, is 252.5, right? And then the immediate short-term possible entry, it's retesting the 262 area.
Okay, nice. Appreciate that. Tradefly, you got AVAX up, right?
Yeah, I got AVAX. So it looked like Arson 246 was looking for more of a long-term projection for AVAX and a
Let's
couple
go.
others here. So
Let's go.
yeah, so what I did was pull up the 5-day chart. This kind of fits me a little bit better in terms of the way I like to do TA anyways. I like swing trading. So there's a couple key levels I'm looking at. All right. So one of them is going to be at 54. And the reason I'm looking at 54 is because there is previous resistance and support in that area. So you see the resistance, you see support. And then again, one of my keys when I really concentrate on the area is where did it break down and have a big fall, right? So that gives me confirmation that this is an area that we're going to keep an eye on. So what would I look for if AVAX continues to actually move up and right? I'm going to look for it to go to about that 54 range, which is about a 20% move. So that would be a pretty good play from here. And then what I personally look for is a small rejection in that area before we can see that continuation. That's one of the plays I love making. Once I get up to those significant areas, I will try to do the opposite of the direction it's moving. That's just personal for me. So if we don't actually continue that upside movement, then you could expect we may pull back obviously a little bit. And I got you a couple key levels to look for there with the fib retracement. So coming back from current area, we can look around the 236, which is going to be at about 39 or so. But one of the other areas I want you to look at, and this is going to be at about, and I just put this, I think on the weekly was 43. So let me pull up the weekly real quick because it'll probably make a little bit more sense for you. And here you go. So I came back to the left and I was just looking. I was like, you see this kind of like, there's a little bit of a war zone here. So between 0.236 and the top here, initially when Avalanche was on, looks like KuCoin, you can see it was kind of bouncing around in this area. So if we do pull back, I would look for that area for some kind of support or some kind of bounce. But obviously, if we really start to fall back, this is really kind of where the higher volume area is. I don't expect that to happen, especially with the market sentiment right now. I think the more logical thing is we pull back somewhere to the 0.236, or if everything stays bullish, sentiment stays good, then you can see a pretty easy push up to about 54.
Nice. Very nice. So let's see here. If you had gotten in, if you go back to the other chart you were on
The
at first.
5-day? Yeah. The tie-in with the chart prime, baby.
Dude,
Is that
let it pop up here.
There it is.
If you had gotten in on that called signal of a breakout, just those that don't know, this is auto printed. it automatically, the algorithm detects this and prints it out for you, and it gives you a confirmation with a green dot on the breakout. It gives you a targeted move, which it hit definitely, and then it also, you can set it to give you a measured move, which is based on, the widest point between the wedge. But yeah, you could have got that call out on what date there? What date would it have been?
This is
23
23
October.
October.
By
Yep.
the way, my big buys on everything, to include Avalanche, that I announced over in the Investing Bros Discord, was on 21 October, and I deployed about $100,000 into crypto on that day. So I saw
I
all of
remember
this
you.
coming.
I remember.
Yep. So that was the type of stuff that I was seeing on Chart Prime's indicators, just so you guys know. So if you guys don't have it, 45% off your first monthly or quarterly, and then you get to see mine and OC's face 6 days a week, giving you classes in the Discord, because we don't just give you the indicators, we give you free classes with it and trade signals. We give away too much with that subscription, OC, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, check the link below for that, guys. Let's jump over to my charts. I've got OP turned up because it's turning up. That's why. And it's actually the headline of the thumbnail today. 50% move in the past 5 days. So let's jump over here and take a look at it and see what we're seeing here. Some stuff that I'm watching on the charts. Uh, Alex O, it would be more beautiful faces if we have you on as a guest soon. And then we would have the Otter Gang showing its fearless otter face leader on here with us. And we actually, look, there's space over here. There's space in this line of pictures here. We can put one in here for you.
We're gonna do the Brady Bunch intro. That's happening.
That's it. That's happening.
Yeah.
So you guys can see here, taking a look at optimism. I talk to you guys all the time about how strong the dynamic reactor is from the Market Oracle Pro from Chart Prime. Guys, there was a wick down. We hit the trend assistant. And from that move right there, let's get it. That move on the date of the 18th of December, day after my birthday. It was Monday, for 5 days now. That has been a move up of 56% to its current candle mark. It's 55%. So there you go. That is what has happened with optimism. Absolutely ripping off. But I have some things here that I want to show you what's going on. Let's take a look at fib retracements. Guys, we just had, and the reason that I know that I have these placed right is because I can see the confluence that's taken place on the actual levels, the 382. We can see the 50 is playing here. We can see the golden pocket play. That lets me know that the sequencing of the Fibonacci levels is correct. Well, we hit here on the bottom of the platinum pocket, the 786. We actually got up into it on the next candle. And now we have broken the 887. If this candle closes on the 887, I do expect that we are going to have more upside. If it comes back down and this candle closes below the 887 at $3.01, watch for us to retrace back to the 786 and hold that as support, trading inside the platinum pocket channel. That's what I'm looking at on the 4-hour chart for optimism. Things are looking really beautiful here, though, on the confluence side of this, because this blue dot down here on the Oscillator Pro, this is called the peak seeker. It called the bottom here and right here. It actually came down, retested that, because you don't just trade a signal, you trade on retest. And then we had the uptrend. We had the ribbon twist, the green momentum dot pushing up in greater than 45-degree angle on that. And then we retested on that 50% line of the Fibonacci's. That's why I like to use them together. And that led us into this entire run up, guys. Below the 30%. This was a beautiful setup on optimism. And that is when I was looking at buying more optimism. I set an order for it. It picked up partial, because I had it one set and then I had another one like 50 cents lower. So I got half of my money in there, adding to my position on optimism. But that's what I'm seeing there for OP. OC, what do you got?
All right, I want to show you something that you were talking about first,
Oh,
which
look at all them Santa
is
hats.
yes. Oh, very Merry Christmas. Look at that. We got OP, we got Pepe, we got ARB, we had Rose, Algo, everything is just blowing up. But yeah, something that I really want to touch back before the next analysis, something that you were mentioning, which is that not everything moves at the same time, right? So how, I mean, it's very bullish to start seeing, like, for example, Rose, right? And when you go to take a look at Rose, it just has already taking off, right? So how do you enter? Do you chase after prices? Well, then you always say that the people are not supposed to chase after prices. So what do you do in these cases? Well, I have a little tip, guys, not financial advice, but a little tip, guys, to how to keep a track on those coins that haven't moved and you are still within that time to get that very bottom, or at least that movement that you could be seeking. All right. The first thing that I'm going to be doing, it's going to like my CoinGecko, all right? And I'm going to be organizing it, everything by market cap, all right? Once I have my market cap organization, I'm going to go through the top 20 then and look for those coins that maybe haven't moved yet and I don't see them maybe so big, all right? Just take a look that I'm on daily. I could be going and taking a look at weekly, all right? I like to have it on daily because that give me like instant movement, and I'm going to be explaining a little bit on that why. All right, if you don't see anything on your top 20, just extend it to top 30, top 40, and then I mean my limit will be top 50. All right, just go ahead and pick those coins that they look healthy and that you have a backup data to know that they are worth getting in coins. All right, after that you can go here, all right? And I'm going to be using this as a counter indicator, all right? If I see something blowing up so big, well, then everything that goes up needs to go down. But remember, we are in a bullish market, so be careful on shorting the bullish trend, all right? The one thing I don't want to see, like, for example, some important coins, like, for example, STX. Well, it's not that important, but all right, it's been sounding around, all right, and I see it red. So I want to go in and check out STX because I want to see what's going to be their next bouncing point. That way, I'm not chasing after the prices and trying to get into a mostly already moved coins, and then it just caught me with a retrace. But I'm going into a pre-bursting bubbles. All right. So yeah, that's basically a little tip that I want to give. And based on that, I'm gonna be. Oh, do you guys have maybe something to add to this possible? Let's
I
call
think
it,
that's
I
a
don't know,
beautiful.
strategy or methodology.
I think that's a beautiful strategy. Whether you use crypto bubbles, whether you use total market cap, whether you use CoinGecko, looking for those things and being able to filter them out, take a look. Anytime that you can see what has not moved through a filter, such as crypto bubble, great strategy. So, shout out to Alex O Crypto. He is now officially going to go by the pronouns otter and beaver. So there you go.
I was trying. It was like I'm trying to hold it together. Like we're sitting here laughing in the background as OC's going through. He's all serious, and me and Piper are just cracking up. I'm like, oh god, like the chat is just it's kicking my ADD
The-
hard.
Yeah,
So,
the chat is out of control today. I love it. Let's go ahead and take a look at what chart you want to show, OC, and then I'm going to start going through some of these lists here that we have from our viewers. So,
Absolutely. So we're still bullish on Illuvium, and I want to go over Illuvium because it hasn't moved. All right. I know it's a gaming token, and it has to do mostly with how that game is evolving in the adoption of that game. All right. But something important seems to be happening at this point. Remember that we were looking at basically how to look for those breakouts, right, on a pattern, especially on a triangular pattern. I know it's a little bit too early to look for to start eating that spaghetti, so let's get rid of a little bit of that spaghetti to make things much easier to digest, and then going for the meat on the breakfast. So we have that little breakout, a beautiful breakout, all right, out of that triangular pattern. As you can see, we are still strong on that head and shoulders lines of Piper calls
OC's
it my
house.
house, OC house.
It's OC's
Yes.
house right there.
So exactly. So what I'm gonna be doing is just extending this line here, and maybe adjusting it on what the new information that I have. All right. So that is giving me basically that I'm almost breaking through, and based on that breakthrough, I'm also gonna be looking at my oscillators. All right. I'm gonna get started with my squeeze momentum. Why? Because it is about to turn bullish if we have that pump that we're looking for, which it seems that we might have. All right. So we are red. All right. And
Hold
this
on
is
real
a
fast, OC.
contrast.
Real fast, can you pull back up your RSI primed and set that over to the chart patterns with regular candles? And let's see if we got an engulfing candlestick pattern going on there. Because right now it's on
Perfect.
Hikinashi. Yeah, with patterns. There you go. I want to see if we have one that printed in there anywhere. Does not look like it. Nope. Okay. Yeah,
We got one here.
sometimes if I see that printing on a green one there, like when it went below the 30% line, that would be another indicator. But yeah, you can go back to Hikinashi and take over. Didn't mean to interrupt. I just wanted to know if there was an engulfing candlestick pattern there on the
Oh no,
RSI prime.
absolutely. Always love it when you guys jump in because that makes the analysis so much richer. Yeah. So we are red, right? So we should be bearish, and we can see that bearishness starting somewhere around here. If we compare it with something else, like for example our RSI, we can see that that overbought was somewhere around here, much closer of the real one. Just remember that the free indicators, as the squeeze momentum, they are lagging indicators, so you need to forecast or prevent based on what might be happening. All right. Based on that statement, we are about to be breaking into the bullish zone. All right, let's see that example. Like when we finish a bearish, we usually go for a little bullish. All right, when we finish the bearish, we usually go for that little bullish. Or in this case, I am expecting to go for a harder movement in here. Why? Because first of all, we went to find that exact bottom at that dynamic reactor. Very strong. The other one, it is that we are having that almost breakthrough, and we could be bouncing or jumping into the green histogram in here. All right, let's just find that confluence. The only thing that I don't like is that we are below the 23 spot and we're pointing down. So basically, no strength on this upcoming green histogram mountain. All right, so that is a little bit on the negative side, but let's take a look at what else we got in here, and let's watch what it's the RSI prime is telling us. So it is telling us that we are basically breaking through half of the way there, and once we break through half of the way, we usually have at least a couple of more candles to go after breaking through that line. All right, so as you can see, we have healthy bars right there, basically going all the way here. That will be my target. That will be placing me at this next VPVR spike. All right, so I could be going all the way to that spike, maybe going for the retest, and off we go. All right, and to just finalize and wrap up the analysis, let's take a look at what I got right here on my prime oscillator. This is looking very bullish if we can close above that zero line, because that will be giving me that momentum, and we could be breaking back above. And as you see, once we break above, look at what happens to that price action. Yes, it was a little bit static here, but then it took off like crazy. So am I bullish here? Yes, I'm bullish, but I'm not also ruling out the possibility that we could have another bounce here. I'll be looking at that oscillator to see whether it breaks above or it breaks below. If I start closing candles out of this trend line, I will be considering it a continuation of a long. If not, I'll be looking for my next big support somewhere around this confluence zone, and for the worst case scenario, somewhere around the 60 area. So that is my look for, or my take on illuvium.
Nice. Uh, I'm going to go ahead and pull up XRP. It was requested here by Crypto Pollo. He said, let's do TA on our favorite stablecoin XRP. So let's do that. And then TradeFly, go ahead and ready up something. We had a request for AVAX. We had a request for TRB. So I don't know if you want to take one of those, or if you saw another one in the chat, just let me know what it is, and we will bring you up next to do that. I'm going to go ahead and throw a fixed range volume profile here, though, on XRP, and take a look at what we're looking at here. You guys can see this white line running across my screen at 57.8 cents. I said this is going to be a level of support to watch. Well, we had a wick down here, almost touched it here on 18 December this week, and now we've started to bounce back up. Some things that I'm concerned about, though, is that we are really fighting hard with this point of control on the fixed range volume profile. That is also aligning perfectly right now with the dynamic reactor, and we are below it, which means we are bearish on XRP. We do have a value area low right here at about 59.5 cents, and I could see if we do not get above that dynamic reactor and above that red dash line there, being the point of control of that fixed range volume profile. We do have a level right here at about 61.1 cents here. So let's go ahead and drop a little white line there. Bam, got that. That would be a level at 61.1 cents, almost 61.2 for us to watch for a bounce. But if not, it is a free fall, guys, all the way down to the value area low, coming in at 59.5 cents. And if we don't hold that, we're looking all the way back again at that previous support line that I told you guys about at 57.8 cents there. That's what I'd be watching for. Something that I will point out, though, is that, again, XRP is in that situation that we talk about where everything's moving and XRP is not doing anything. You got to remember that there is always an opportunity for something to pop off after sitting stagnant. I'm sure that a lot of people right now are selling off their XRP. For transparency's sake, I sold XRP this past week, but I put it all into Ethereum. So I just did a swap on it.
Now
so
it's gonna pop.
now XRP is going to pop. So,
As we talk
you
about
heard it here. Piper did his thing. Now it's going to pop off. So, but yeah, that's what I'm watching for there on XRP. Let's take a look at the oscillator, see what they're telling us, because they all have a story to tell. We are looking very weak and stagnant here. Remember, I like to see these 45% moves, 45% angles in the lines. In a second, I'm going to have actually OC show you guys his little trick that he does for watching for 45-degree angles. So OC, if you can set one of those up while I'm talking here, and then I'll kick it over to you to talk about that. We want to see a good 45-degree angle. Right now, a 45-degree angle would be to the downside. That's what we would be watching. And that would mean that we are getting that confirmation of probably heading down to those ranges again for support for another bounce. What I'm also seeing is that the RSI prime, regardless of how weak we're looking here, it's actually looking quite overbought right now. We're almost at the 70% line. Could we come back up here? Yes, absolutely. I would be looking, if we did, for a rejection at about 63.3 cents or this liquidity zone at about 64 cents. And that would then put us above that 70% line on the RSI prime, setting us up for downside. Goodbye, Mexican spaghetti. Too early for you. Another thing here, too, is on the Ichimoku cloud, we look like we're starting to get a little change of color here on the signal line. This goes to yellow in this cloud and then kicks to green. That would be indication of an upside. However, being that we can't get above the Ichimoku cloud here on this oscillator, I would be expecting more downside on XRP right now. Also, not quite ready to pump, in my opinion. OC, do you got that little box up for the 45-degree angle cheat sheet? Here you go.
Absolutely. Perfect. So let's take a look at here. I have a Mexican spaghetti. Let's clean it up. And guys, there's two ways to be looking at this. All right. So first of all, we're going to be setting up our breaking point, which is this VPVR section that Piper was talking about. All right. And then we need to look for a vertex because we want to have already information to look after, right, or to compare to. So what I'm going to be doing is also looking at a vertex right down here or a breakout in here, right, whichever I'm looking at. I am above the zero line, so I could pick either. So let's get started because I am right against the course in here. So I'm going to be picking this section in here as I break through. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is grabbing a box in here and drawing from that vertex a square-ish box in here as good as I can. All right. And then I want to show you a little trick in here. So we can understand a little bit better because it gets confusing fast. I'm going to be drawing that box up here and I'm going to be drawing a 45-degree angle there. All right. What I want to show you, it's my A sector and my B sector. All right. This is the origin. When I start seeing for shorts, that is almost the same thing, but to like a mirror way. All right. So what I'm going to be doing very quick is I'm going to be mirroring that same drawing here, therefore giving me B sector all the way up here. All right. And A sector all the way down here. All right. So here it goes. The important thing. I want to see my oscillator, all right, being either on A sector for bearish. If I'm on A sector, I am expecting a pullback. Sorry, I'm not expecting a pullback. If I am on B sector, I am expecting a pullback. So let's see what's happening right here. So far, if I would have break right now, I am not expecting a pullback, and I will be having a ginormous and very strong movement like this. Just so you know, Volatility, it's always a thing. So you could be having pullbacks very quick like this kind of weeks. All right. But so far as going for something like, let me show you, like this breakout, couple of candles, pullback, and off we go. All right, that is not something that I am expecting while I am on sector A. All right, so far, if I break now, I am not expecting a couple of candles pullback. So I will not be looking for something like that. All right, I'll be looking more like something like this to happen. All right, let me just draw it up to have a little bit better reaction there. Here we go. That's what I'm gonna be looking for. All right. If for the contrary, I take a little bit more ranging here and then I start flipping down on sector B, all right, on sector B here, I will be looking for a retest and off we go. So I'll be looking for something like this. All right. This is what I'll be looking for if I cross over sector B. So that pullback for the retest, and then off we go.
And
So
for the
yeah, Piper,
record,
that is my little
yeah,
trick.
it is a great trick. And for the record, guys, this works with any type of oscillator ribbons. Um, it can work on the RSI, regular RSI, the RSI prime, the chart prime oscillators, anything that gives you these ribbons, to even include market cipher. I'll throw that out there. The momentum waves, if they're breaking this 45-degree angle box, this is a great way for you guys to test the strength of movement, the momentum of the movement on the oscillators using that box. So there you go. This is an absolute little trick that you can learn. Piper Academy. It's knowledge. Knowledge is profit, right? So, TradeFi, I think you're going to close us out with AVAX. Is that correct?
Nah, I think we already talked to AVAX kind of long
Oh,
term.
that's
We
right.
pulled that
That's
one up
right.
earlier, but what we can do is take a quick look at Coinbase, really, and
Yeah, that's right.
maybe
That's what it was. Coinbase.
have a little "I told you so" moment. All right, so about a month ago, I did a video when you were out of town with OC,
I'm
and we were
always out of
talking
town.
about coin. Yeah, yeah, it seems to be a trend, man.
I
I
vacation a
see what
lot,
you got.
man.
I see what you got going on here. But I marked it with the purple line, and we talked about coin, and this is when everything was going down with Binance, and we're like, hey, this might be that time with all this bullish news to take a look at coin. So from that point that we talked about it, and we were like, hey, this Coinbase might be daddy at this point, and it's gonna not cooperate with me. But here we go. That is about a 85% move. And the other thing is, we can come here and look at the chart prime uh, indicator here, and what we have is a rising wedge that it drew. So we've kind of talked about that, but this is just further confirmation of how strong this indicator is. Now, from the top of that pattern, I'm going to go ahead and draw where we're at right now from the top to current. That's a 27% move on that breakout. So again, just further confirmation of how powerful these tools are. Just looking at some of the indicators, looking at the prime oscillator right now, we are an overbought. So it's not an area I would probably go long personally, but I
No,
can definitely see us
I would actually wait. If it does that, I would look for it to do a pullback and retest that upper trend line of that chart pattern it broke out of. And that's
on
where I
this one
would
right here.
enter.
Yep,
Yep. And enter on
exactly.
the retest of that as support.
Yeah, completely agree. And I will
Yep.
extend that for you guys a little bit here. So if we do get a pullback, then what you can look for is somewhere in about the 150 range would be probably a nice potential entry. And if we do push up, I'm looking just kind of left, looking at some of the volume over here, not much of it. So for it to come up and push up, just to give you kind of a top side number to look at, about 212 is definitely an area where I'd see some resistance.
Let's go. Let's
Let's
get it.
go.
Let's go. All right. Cool. I appreciate that little update on Coinbase there, guys. Let's jump over to the trio cam here and let's walk this out. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe. If you're new here, hit the notification bell, get notified every time we go live. This has been Piper Academy, and we appreciate all of the alumni that join us here every single Monday through Friday at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Looks like OC is frozen there a little bit, but oh, there he goes. He's back. He's
Yeah.
back. He was smiling and looking down. It was like a great moment there of OC. OC, your internet is giving you a little glitchy today. Oh, look at you. You got little explosions and stuff, and OC is out. So, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. TradeFly, OC, everybody that joined us today, thanks for joining us right here today for your market news, your economics, your charts, your data, everything you need to have knowledge in the markets, because knowledge is profit. We will catch you guys back here next week on Monday morning. Be watching for the short dropping later today. Be watching for new content coming out here on the show. Till then, guys, trade safe. And as always, use a stop loss.
That was awesome, dude!